right, folks, welcome back to the show. You listen to Michelle Bryant, Say Something Real. I am going to take a few minutes just to have a quick conversation. I saw a announcement yesterday that there was going to be a rally regarding We Energies and their plans to increase customer rates going on this weekend. And I wanted to know more about it and understand kind of the driving force behind some of the issues for concern. And so we were able to secure a interview with the executive director of Walnut Way, Mr. Antonio Butts. I believe we have him on the line right now.
Good morning, Michelle.
Hey, bro, how you doing this morning?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Good. It was so funny when I said, I got an interview this morning with Antonio Butts. It was like a celebrity was getting ready to join. Folks got excited, like, what? That's my man. So I just want you to know you're well thought of in these parts.
Greatly appreciated. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Not a problem. So do me a favor. Help people understand what's going to be happening this Saturday, what, preempted it. How did we get to a point where there is now a rally about the energy cost or rates to customers over through We Energies?
Absolutely. Again, thanks, Michelle, for having me this morning. So on Saturday, October 15th, hundreds of We Energies customers, we're going to be gathering down at the We Energies headquarters on Vale Phillips and Michigan Avenue. And so collectively with our partners, what we're doing is we're bringing awareness and basically want to step up and oppose We Energies' request to increase their electric and gas rates. And so the way it works is every 2 years, We Energies can come before the Wisconsin Public Service Commission to request a rate increase. And so since its inception of the Wisconsin Public Service Commission back in 1922, there has never been a black organization representing low-income ratepayers from Milwaukee to legally intervene. And so earlier this year, Walnut Way stepped up to legally intervene in the We Energies rate case, and we were approved to be an intervener. And basically what that means is we get to participate in the Wisconsin Public Service Commission's legal proceedings as they move towards making a determination on whether or not to increase rates.
So when you talk about the increase in rates, I mean, are we talking a few pennies here? Are we talking, $5, $10? Like, what does this look like in terms of my monthly electric bill?
So basically, in totality, they're looking for about almost $500 million in increases, and that's both for gas and electric. And so there are no real accurate numbers in terms of what it'll mean for your monthly bill, but at a minimum, we're looking at an increase of somewhere between $10 to $20. And then we also understand the compounding effects of the things that we're already dealing with and the implications that has on the income that we have in each of our households.
Okay. So the one thing that I did, because I had seen a couple of stories about the rate increase, and there were some numbers that were kind of floated. Again, don't know how transparent they are. I'm sorry, how reliable they are. But they talked about that residents in utility service territories could pay an extra $5 to $6 monthly on their bills, while natural gas customers could pay around $6 more each month, but that the costs are on top of roughly $20 to $30 more each month that customers are expected to face this winter anyway. Heating bills slated to increase about 17%. And so it is like, there are folks that have actually been looking and trying to attach real numbers to this. I know a story in JS Online back in April. They talked about that the increase could, come somewhere in between 60. They would increase rates by $60 to $72 a year for the average residential customer. And that may not sound like a lot of money, but when you are already on a limited income, you got budget constraints in your family, that's a difference for a lot of people. So what do you...
Absolutely. And so as a state-regulated entity, We Energies has a legal obligation to provide safe, reliable, and affordable utility service. The issue is reliable and affordable. So our silence is consent on these issues. And so we got some opportunities now up until November 7th to speak up as ratepayers and let the Wisconsin Public Service Commission know that we don't want We Energies to be able to increase their rates. And then in addition to that, we want We Energies to acknowledge the marginalization. We want them to put forth a co-created sustainable plan to address it. We want folks to be involved in that process. And we want an annual funding commitment to ensure our participation, because participation costs. And I know you know that all too well, Michelle.
My man. Yes, yes. Nothing is free, and not even having a voice is not free sometimes. Exactly. So this is the thing. You said people had opportunities up through November 7th. When the Public Service Commission is trying to make their decision, is there going to be an opportunity for members of the public to either send a letter, an email, attend a public hearing? Are there things like that that will be happening?
Absolutely. So on November 3rd at the Washington Park Senior Center over on 4420 West Belize, there will be a public hearing. There'll be two sessions on November 3rd, one at 1 p.m. and one at 6 p.m. And those are the opportunities for individual households to come and share their comments and basically share their individual experiences, hardships, and what they are dealing with in terms of utility costs with the Public Service Commission. But there are also opportunities to submit comments virtually up until November 7th. And so to submit comments virtually, you can go to a website, nohikeplease.org, nohikeplease.org, or you can find it also on the Wisconsin Public Service Commission website. It's a little bit easier to go to nohikeplease.org to find that comment button and be able to directly go in and share your personal comments about the issues you have with the rate increase.
So what do you say about the other side of this equation where you have we at Energy Group, which is over, controls We Energies, when they say that, look, we went through the pandemic, we need to recover about $290 million, upwards to $835 million for renewable energy projects that we got to recover. All of this stuff is going on. What do you say on the other side, when people say, okay, We Energies was able to make sure that people's, utilities stayed on during the pandemic. Any thought to that other side of that coin?
As a state-regulated entity, they have a legal obligation to ensure that our utility service is both affordable and reliable. They're not meeting the affordability requirement. And so part of their obligation is to solve for inability to pay. And because they're not spending any real resources on addressing the affordability issue, that's what brought us into the case. And that's exactly what we're really pushing for. So a couple little caveats around this that are unfolding since the case started. One is this. There are about 8 organizations or entities that intervene: Walmart, Kroger, Renew Wisconsin, and a few others. Well, up to this point, We Energies has been able to settle with several of those organizations, and they've left Walnut way out of the settlement talks and the agreements that have been made. So this is a little bit of a microcosm of what exists in our current society. We've been excluded, isolated, and not been made a part of this process that we know affects us in disproportionate ways as it relates to increasing utility rates.
So when you say there have been settlement talks, what does that mean for the average listener? Are you saying that Walmart, Kroger, and the other organizations you mentioned were able to come in and say, look, we can't have this level of increase impacting our day-to-day business? So were they able to negotiate a lower rate increase? I mean, what do you mean when you say a settlement? And how long have these been taking place?
Thank you for that question. So it's two parts to that. One, the final authority still remains in the hands of the Wisconsin Public Service Commission, and that's why it's important for us to raise our voice, and we can also object to the settlement. But the settlement provides a path for those entities basically to receive what they've negotiated for. So for Walmart, it is lower rates. For Milwaukee Metropolitan Sewerage District, it is lower rates. And for some of the others, that's the same, lower rates. And for us, we've been left outside of that. So we know that there is a financial resource associated with those settlements, and that that same impact, we should have the opportunity to discuss and negotiate to remedy the issues we have in our community, the Black community and the low-income ratepayer community here in Milwaukee.
You know, you said something because because of the work in Senator Taylor's office, have been privy to a lot of these conversations regarding the PSC and applications for rate increases over the years. And when you talk about not having a voice, this is something that Lena used to talk about all the time, not having a voice at the table for some of the hardest hit and impacted people, some of the most vulnerable citizens, you know, that would be affected by this whole thing. That has always been a problem. So first of all, kudos to Walnut Way for being able to be, you know, officially engaged in this way. But how difficult was it for you all to be able to play at the table, have a seat at the table in this way?
Because this is, again, a regulated process, it's even more exclusive than, you know, we find our traditional public voting process. So what that means is, to be an intervener, you really do have to have the legal resources to make the case. And so just to be really clear, the legal fees associated with our participation will be above six figures just to participate in the case as an intervener on behalf of low-income ratepayers. And so outside of being an intervener, the only other opportunities that we have as ratepayers are to step up individually as households and comment or be a part of public processes. But to be an actual intervener in the administrative legal proceedings, it does take resources. And so it's pretty much straightforward in terms of where you go and how you enter. But there is a threshold in terms of financial resource that you have to even participate in the process.
That's a shame, you know, when you think about it. So you got communities that, again, will most likely suffer the most. And then money being a factor, but you got to have money in most ways that this is being described to even play at the table, to have a voice, you know, to say, I need some help here. I need this not to happen, but you got to have money to even be able to be in the game. That part is so crazy. I just got, a message, from State Representative Myers. She said she will be at the rally. She said this is a cause that she and Lena have tried to even get the Legislative Black Caucus to pay attention to when she used to be the chair of the Legislative Black Caucus, and that she wants the PSC to force the utility to have real representation in the Black community for the Black community. And she said, but it goes even deeper than the rates. And then there are a number of other issues that are out there. So first of all, like I said, I am so appreciative that you all have been able to be a meaningful player in this way, in this fight. And so for anyone that wants to support the work that's being done, what can they do?
So I just want to step out there and say again that right now where we are in the case, We Energies has basically ignored all of our requests for reforms around disconnection, late fees, payment plans, and other practices that disproportionately affect our community. And so with that understanding, it's not over. We have an opportunity to push back, to fight back, and land on a decision that's more favorable for our community, the Black community, the low-income ratepayer community. And so these opportunities are coming this Saturday, to come on Saturday at the rally down on Vale Phillips in Michigan, and basically feel the energy and the impact that's going on to address this issue. But again, on November 7th, there's an opportunity to provide in-person public comment at Washington Park Senior Center. And then we also have opportunities going on again till November
7th?
November 7th is the last day for public comment, but then, for written comment. Written comment is November 7th, and then public comment is
November.
Both of those, I think, let me look at the sheet, but we have time, and so let's not get caught up in me fumbling this part up.
No,
we
that's
have
okay.
time, we have power, and it's very important for us to participate because our silence will be consent in this. And because We Energies is regulated, it is regulated by the public, and our voice matters in this process. So the opportunity for us to engage and let the Wisconsin Public Service Commission know our position is at hand, and we really need everybody to step up, participate, and be a voice in this. And as we go forward in the future, it still is going to be an issue that we have to participate in and have resources to be able to sustain our participation. And a couple other small nuances are just simple things like this. Currently, We Energy spends billions on solar farms far and away from our communities where there's no economic impact for us, when the reality is billions can be invested to put solar on thousands of roofs in our community and basically help remedy some of the energy affordability issues. We know that We Energy spends magnanimous amounts of money on the legal fees associated with preventing us from being able to access affordable energy rates. And so we have to position ourselves to be in the fight, to stay in the fight, and basically build a capacity to understand what we need to do in order to remedy these issues so that the process is more fair and equitable for all of us.
So one last thing, some folks want to know, because they are interested in either attending the public hearing or providing written comments about the situation, but they want to understand what your list of demands are, or your, the things that you are saying are a priority in terms of the requests that have been made specifically from Walnut Way. Will you have that information available on Saturday, like a handout, a sheet that informs the voters and the communities what it is that you're asking for? Because everybody, they don't know anything other than my bill is too high. And so to be able to speak to some of the nuance and or the specifics about some of the requests and to support you, will there be anything that people can get by way of a document that lists what those requests are that you all are making? Antonio? If you can hear me, we can't hear you, bruh.
Absolutely. So we'll have some handouts. Sorry about that, Michelle. We'll have handouts, and the information is also on that website, nohike.org, noratehike.org. And again, just to go back, in-person hearing is 11/3, November 3rd at 1 and 6 p.m. at Washington Park. Written comments will be accepted until November 7th.
Okay. And tell folks what time the rally starts.
The rally starts at noon. And so it's going to be a good time. It's going to be a great time just so that we can all recognize that people do care about this issue. People do want to take action on this issue. And We Energy should be aware that we're galvanizing and that this won't be a moment. This will be a movement. And a big part of that movement is what we're calling me energies. Affordable energy for me energies. I can produce my own power. Me energies. Ratepayer affordability over shareholder profits. Me energy in Milwaukee.
Love the play on the word. Love it, love it. And so just for clarity, folks, that website is nohikeplease.org. I just went to the site, pulled up a bunch of information. No Hike Please, hike, H-I-K-E, nohikeplease.org. Mr. Butts, I just want to say, man, because this was a last minute, request for you to appear. Thank you guys so much for, coming on to explain some of this information to the community. I know there will be a number of people out there to support you all in the work, and I just want to tell you how much I appreciate what you're doing.
Michelle, thanks for you and the team for holding the space. Hold that space because we got to have it. So we appreciate you too.
All right. Thank you, bruh.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, somebody said, did he say me energies? He did. I need some affordable rates for me. This has been an ongoing struggle. The phrase that has been cemented in my brain going through the redistricting fight and listening to Senator Taylor talk about the need to have representation, representation matters. We got to be in these rooms and